Mhm. Greetings and welcome to Mount Vernon Unitarian Church. I'm the Reverend Christian Schmidt, interim minister of this congregation. Whether this is your first time with us or your 1001st, know that you are welcome here and we are glad to have you. We are a community dedicated to welcoming the stranger, working for justice, and supporting one another. Though safety issues prevent us from gathering together in person right now, we are glad we can provide this forum to find comfort and recommit ourselves to the mission of supporting one another in our spiritual journeys, working for the care of the earth, and building the common good. We regather to commit ourselves to dismantling systems of oppression and justice. It is so good to be together. I have a couple quick announcements, things going on in the near future. The first is that our parking lot project, in which we're going to rip up parts of the parking lot and then repave the entire thing, so it'll be new and beautiful, starts October 11th, which is actually one day earlier than we had originally planned. And that will run for about 2 weeks. Please do not come to the church campus if at all possible during that time. There'll be a lot of construction. It will not smell good. If you absolutely must come for any reason, please do not attempt to drive up the driveway towards the parking lot. Instead, park on Mason Hill and walk up the path up the hill. Thank you. Another announcement, we will meet, that is, any and all are welcome to meet, at 4 p.m. October 10th, that's next Sunday, for an outdoor worship and time for community. So please come. For this service today, we ask you to turn off your cameras in Zoom so that we can all focus on the service itself. Afterwards, we'll invite you to turn on your cameras so you can all see one another and give a virtual hug and wave. Lastly, please continue to look to all our communication methods, to emails, phones, website, for continued updates about worship and other church happenings during this time, both of COVID and of our parking lot project, frankly. If you are ever in need, please contact us. Even during the time that church staff will not be on site during the parking lot project, we'll still be checking email and phones. I invite you now to take a deep breath with me as we enter into this time of worship. Today, we're talking about accepting ourselves. Join me.
Your Body is Welcome Here by Sean Neil Barron. Your body is welcome here, all of it. Yes, even that part, and yes, even that part. The parts you love and the parts you don't. For in this place we come with all that we are, all that we have been, and all that we are going to be. Our bodies are constantly changing. Cells die and cells are reborn. We respond to infections and disease. Sometimes we can divorce them from our bodies, and other times they become a permanent part of us. Your body and all that it is within it, both wanted and not wanted, has a place here. Our bodies join in a web of co-creation, created and creating, constantly changing, tense and relaxed, diseased and cured, familiar and intimate, formed in infinity diversity of creation. Your body is welcome here, all of it. So take a moment and welcome it. Take a moment to feel in it. Take a moment to be in it.
Good morning. Would you sing with me hymn number 86 from your gray hymnals, Blessed Spirit of My Life? The words may also be found in your orders of service and on your screen. I'll play through it once and then we'll sing both verses. strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with a vision. Clear my mind of fear and confusion. When my thoughts flow restlessly, let peace find a home in me. Spirit of great mystery, hear the still small voice in me. Help me live my wordless creed as I comfort those in need. Fill me with compassion, be the source of my intuition. Then when life is done for me, let love be my legacy.
Will you join me in the covenant of the Mount Vernon Unitarian Church, which unites us in fellowship? Love is the teaching of this church. The quest of truth is its daily task, and service is our prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve life and community, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. This is our covenant with each and with all.
Good morning. I'm Ann Richards, and I'm the Director of Lifespan Spiritual Growth here at Mount Vernon Unitarian Church. And this morning, I have a story for you by Reverend Eric Wickstrom, and it's called A Day at the Lawn. I'm sure it's called A Day at the Lawn because it's about a little girl named Wendy who loved grass. She loved to roll in the grass in the summer and lay on the lawn in the spring and smell all the flowers. And she was always happy when the snow melted. So in the fall, she could go and lay on the grass and let the leaves fall on her. One day in the summer, her family told her, we are going to go to the beach. While we're at the beach, we are going to lay on the sand. We are going to pick up rocks and seashells. And we are going to go swimming in the water. Well, Wendy thought that sounded okay. And everybody else was excited about it. So she got in the car with everybody else and off they went to the beach. Now, Wendy had a magic fairy all of her own. And that fairy loved grass too. And she went along to the beach. And when they got there, and Wendy stepped onto the sand, she stepped onto the sand. The magic fairy heard her say, ouch, this is too hot. I don't want to stand on this hot sand. And so the magic fairy heard her say, I wish it were grass. Voila, she made it into grass. Well, the rest of the family was a little bit disappointed. They wanted to lay out on the sand, but they spread their towels out on the grass and went to look for seashells and rocks. Well, Wendy also went to look for seashells and rocks, and when she got there and she stepped on them, they hurt her feet. And she said, ow, These rocks and seashells hurt my feet. I wish it were grass. And of course, the magic fairy heard, and she turned it into grass. Family was disappointed, but okay, they thought, and they went to swim in the ocean. But that's the ocean. It was so cold. She started to shiver. Brr! I wish I were just laying on the nice, comfortable lawn. Did you know it? The fairy heard that, and she turned the water all into grass. All grass. Well, they decided that they were going to have lunch on the grass. They were Unitarian Universalists, so they were trying to make the best of it. And they laid out their picnic basket and they started to eat. And Wendy took a bite of her cheese sandwich and she thought, this isn't special. It feels like we're at home. It doesn't feel right. And she said to her mom, this isn't as good as I thought it would be. And her mother had said, that is because before you had three different things, three different smells and colors and textures. When you had the water that you could swim in, and the sand that you could lay on, and the rocks and the shells. But now you just have grass. And even though you love grass, sometimes it's good to try something different. Well, Wendy thought about that. She thought, you're right. It's okay to have grass most of the time. But every now and then, you got to try something a little different. Wendy said, I wish this weren't still all grass. Like this. Well, the fairy heard it. And she came and she turned the grass back into sand, back into rocks and shells, back into water. And they all enjoyed the rest of the day at the beach. And Wendy remembered, sometimes it's important to have different experiences.
Mount Vernon Unitarian Church continues to share the plate with committed organizations that you, our members, have chosen. During the month of October, our offering is being shared with Frog Pond Early Learning Center. I invite this gathered community to offer whatever you are most comfortable with in spirit and financial generosity for the mission of our church community. If you would like to write and mail a check for the offering, please make it to MVUC and in the memo line indicate how would you like it to be used. You can also follow the link in the chat box to make a one-time or recurring payment. During this time of music, we invite you to tenderly name in the chat box or in your heart the joys and sorrows that you hold within your heart. Here is a short video provided by Pam Tinker, Frog Pond's founder and a member of MVUC.
Tinker, and we are at Frog Pond Early Learning Center. This is the garden that our youngest children, the tadpoles, have been tending all summer and harvesting from and having food experiences. In the background, way back there, you will see our new tricycle track that is also serving as an orchard for an apple and a peach tree, and many native trees such as pawpaws and persimmons. And next to that is our barnyard, where maybe you can see in the very far background under the little shady tarp, we have baby goats and chickens. And this is what I call the most beautiful ugly building in Fairfax County. Had we not been able, through some miracle of cooperation from contractors and county permitting people, had we not gotten this building, we would have been losing $18,000 a month. And by this time this year, Frog Pond would be no more. So this is the magic building that helped us to add back our full enrollment and gave us 2 additional spaces so we can keep our children in small pods and separate from each other. So we are hoping in the near future to add a permanent building in this space. So the infrastructure that we're bringing back is geared up to meet the needs of a full permanent building. We're hoping to get water and sewer back here by the winter in order to not have to rent a heated toilet trailer like we did last year, which cost $4,000 a month and doubled our electric bill. So we're hoping to get the water and sewer lines in. We're about ready to start the permitting process for that. So any help you can give us will be wonderful. The children are safe and happy and enjoying their outdoor time, and we appreciate anything that Mount Vernon Unitarian Church congregation can contribute towards us. We have had wonderful support from the congregation since 1997, before we even opened in 1998. So we appreciate all of that for all those years. Thank you.
I invite you now to prepare for our time of silent reflection and then prayer. Please join me in a few moments of silence. Our prayer today comes from the Reverend Vanessa Southern. She writes, "Even this is enough." So much undone, so much to do, so much to heal in us and the world, so much to acquire: a meal, a healthy body, a fit one, a lover, a job, a better job, proof we have and are enough, just around the corner of now. And up against it, the reality of all that falls short in the limits of today. We honor the limits. If your body won't do what it used to for right now, let it be enough. If your mind won't stop racing or can't think of the word, let it be enough. If you are here utterly alone and in despair, be all that here with us. If today you cannot sing because your throat hurts, or you don't have the heart for music, or you're alone watching on Zoom perhaps, it's okay to be silent. When the time comes to give, if you don't have money to give or the heart to give, let it pass. The world won't stop spinning on her axis if you don't rise to all occasions today. Love won't cease to flow in your direction. Your heart won't stop beating. All hope won't be lost. You are part of the plan for this world's salvation. Of that I have no doubt. The world needs its oceans of people striving to be good, to carry us to the shores of hope, and wash fear from the beachheads, and cleanse all wounds so they can heal. But oceans are big, and I'm sure there are parts that don't feel up to the task of the whole some days. So rest if you must then, like the swimmer lying on her back who floats, or the hawk carried on cushions of air. Rest in pews made to hold weary lives in space carved out for the doing of nothing much but being. Perhaps then you will feel in your bones, in your weary heart, the aching, healing sense that this is enough. Even this. That we are enough, that you are enough, enough for these and for all the meditations of our hearts. I say, Amen.
YouTube, Twitter, Facebook too. I feel I'm getting closer to you. We used to be strangers, but now that's not true, because I read and hear all about you. It does not matter if you don't reply. I know we're friends now, that's no lie. You always say good morning, hello and bye. I know where you go, how you feel and why. Do, 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 do. Google Plus, Flickr, Spotify, so many out there for you to try. Put your life on the web and you will find like-minded people all have a good time. And ever since you entered my life, I don't feel alone anymore. So go on and YouTube, Twitter, Facebook me. That's the way to get closer, you see. We used to be strangers, but now that won't be. If you subscribe and get back to me.
Show Up Hungry by Elizabeth Nguyen. I got off work at 7 p.m. and did the thing where you chase the bus a little bit, but then realize you won't make it and walk sheepishly back to the bus stop. I'm already an hour late to Sunday night singing at the Lucy Stone Cooperative, a UU affordable housing co-op in Boston. I'm still ambivalent. I could go home to Netflix and grilled cheese. I could choose predictability and warm carbs. Or I could get on the bus to this community where I was first a member of the planning team and now a board member. This place where, despite my leadership role, I still find myself questioning whether and how I belong. I give myself a little pep talk, reminding myself that I'm allowed to show up late and hungry and in need of song. Reminding myself that being in community means offering care and being cared for, bringing my shiny self and my not so shiny self. When I arrive, there's a teapot of hot water and a plate of fat dates on the table. A friend presses a bowl into my hands, and there's broccoli soup. We sing Amazing Grace. The wonders of accepting love have made me whole and real. Community is covenant. It's the promise of a bowl of soup and a song at the end of the day. It's love in the form of a house on Moreland Street that has said that it doesn't matter that I don't live there, that I too am welcome on Sunday nights. Laid bare, it is the succor and accountability of doing that thing together that we cannot do alone. I've not always been my best self in the communities I've loved. I've shirked dish duty at Lucy Stone and missed weddings in my hometown. I've dropped out when I was needed and showed up full of pettiness and exhaustion. The wonder of accepting love is only made evidence when we're allowed to shed the shiny and let the sourness show. Our communities of spirit are only real because we show up late expecting to be fed, because we both give and get, because we bring our tart and our sweet, our gifts and our struggles. We need lemon in the lentils, rice vinegar in the sushi, a squeeze of lime in the chelada, and some acid in our communities. Without it, our communities are superficial. With no acid, we are one note, monotone. Our vulnerabilities, our bits of brokenness, bring life to our relationships. We are part of community when we show up shiny and not so shiny, when we ladle soup into each other's bowls and eat it eagerly, when we bring our sour and our sweet, when we shed the shiny and show up hungry.
Would you accept your own Facebook friend request? I know that's a weird thing to say, but a colleague of mine posted it as a question about self-acceptance, about appearance, about self-image, about how our connections in the world affect all of those things. Are you the sort of person you would want to be connected to on social media? Or more importantly, do you perceive yourself to be that sort of person? It's easy to think that the person the world, whatever that means, perceives us to be as the person we truly are. The tendency to categorize and reduce ourselves and one another to a few key characteristics, our race or gender, our family role or job or hometown or body type, or a million other things. Well, that tendency is very strong. In part, that's because humans are categorizing beings. To make sense of our world, we put things into categories. But we know, of course, that none of those categories fully describe us. I'm a father and pastor. I'm a husband. I'm a sports fan. And 1,000 other things. None of them fully encapsulate everything about me. The true self is more complicated than any of those tags. And accepting ourselves, all of ourselves, is no easy feat. Complicated and contradictory and wonderful and awful as we all are, or at least can be. Self-acceptance is both absolutely important and incredibly difficult. The old maxim is that we are our own worst critics, and I, for one, have found that to be so true. Back when I was a newspaper reporter, I would often reread something I had written and cringe. I would be both grateful for and anxious about the editing process and what my editors would think about my work. I felt good about some of my work, sure. I won a few awards even. But it was often balanced by worry about the stuff that I knew, or at least felt, wasn't very good. We also have a constant push, both from within and without, that we should want more. More of ourselves, more from others, more from the world. It might mean more money or more time or more whatever. There's something that's pushed upon us by society and our economy, but how quickly we internalize that message, don't we? I talked about this a little bit in August when I talked about being good enough. Advertising wants you to think that you are not good enough, usually. Advertising is one of those culprits that's too happy to point out some perceived flaw and then, of course, offer us the solution for the low, low price of some money and our self-worth. Accepting ourselves is, of course, also about accepting our bodies. Be they short or tall, or fat or thin, or of many colors, able or disabled, old, young, and the infinite other variations. I have a number of friends who count themselves in the body positivity movement, and they've convinced me. Love the body you have in all of its gloriousness and not. There was a time a while back in which I hurt my knee badly enough to be inconvenienced. I didn't get to go to Taekwondo with my kids, for instance, but not quite badly enough to go see the doctor. My wife thought I should go, but I didn't think I should. And so I had been limping around trying not to feel sorry for myself. And I don't heal as quickly as I did when I was younger, and I know that's not likely to improve. So I try to take stretching more seriously and exercise. Well, I haven't been great about going to Taekwondo lately, but I want to. Accepting ourselves is also about what my friend the Reverend Peter Friedrichs calls wanting what we have. Let me read a passage from his work. He writes, wanting what we have is not a passive exercise. Want, desire, acceptance, and appreciation are acts of volition. It calls us to make a choice between longing for some other state, some other perhaps unspecified place, anywhere but here, thank you very much, and where we are, living with what we've got. It requires us to actively engage in our lives as they are now. He continues, to live our lives with deep meaning and conviction, even if they're not the lives we might have hoped or planned for. To want what we have calls our attention back from the other side of the fence, where that greener grass of our fantasy beckons, and asks us to apply our energies to tending our own yards, digging out our own weeds, making our own lawns more beautiful. And so ends Peter's words. I have no doubt there are those here today who do not want what they have. The fear of losing a job, especially as a government shutdown looms. Or anxiety over the choices a loved one is making. Depression that life has not worked out the way we had planned. It seems almost trite to say it, but the truth is that life is hard, really hard sometimes, maybe all the time, and often we wish it were otherwise. We pray for salvation from pain and suffering, and sometimes we seek relief and release in ways that are hurtful to ourselves and to others. With our face pressed up against the darkest pane of glass, we are unable to see anything but darkness. And yet, whether we see it or not, the light still shines. The light of the morning sun rising each day, the light of a child's smile, the light of a friend's constant companionship, the light of life, which is our single greatest gift. These are the things we have that we can hold on to. And if we do, we will never go wanting. So I've been working lately to love my limitations. Those things I can't do, those things I never could do, or can't do anymore, or won't ever do. And I don't think these have to be reasons for sadness, though I know some of them are. Limitations can also be freeing. I realize that sounds like an oxymoron, but I think of Bach, for instance, who took the fugue, even in his own day, a staid, rather quaint, old-fashioned form, and did things with it that no one had ever done before. He embraced the limitation, this one, of form, and explored the freedom within that. Our limitations don't define us, but they are a part of us. The key, I'm told, and what I'm trying to do, is to embrace them. To know that none of us is intended to do everything, that all of us have things we can do, and that there's a beauty in each of us that is unique to us. There's a piece by a minister I greatly respect, the Reverend Burton Carley, I want to just finish with. It's pretty short. I wonder if the river ever despairs of its downward destiny and harbors a secret desire to flow uphill. I wonder if winter yearns to be summer, or if a flower wishes it could bloom out of season. I wonder if silence would like to shout, or if the sky wants to fall down and become the earth. I wonder if the bird longs to become a rabbit, or if the fish ever dreams of walking on the land. I wonder if the mountains envy the valleys, or if snow secretly covets the warmth of June. I wonder if the moon complains that it is not the sun, or if the stars envy the earth. I wonder if rain prefers a cloudless sky, or if grass tires of green and hopes for blue. I wonder if spring really likes growing, or if fall rages against its colorful dying. I wonder if the world ever sighs after more than it is, like you and I, like you and I. So ends his poem. Friends, I encourage you to accept your own Facebook request today, metaphorically speaking. Be the affirming friend that you yourself need. Love yourself. Give yourself a break, and go be fully yourself in whatever you do. Amen.
Would you join me in singing from your gray hymnals, number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open. I'll play through it once, then we'll sing through it once, and then we'll do it as a round.
Will you join me as we unite our voices to recite the words to extinguish our chalice, words known within our hearts and can be found displayed upon your screen? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Friends, make friends with yourself. Accept who you are in all of your possibilities and all your challenges. Accepting ourselves is a key to being happy. Healthy folks who are ready to make the world a better place. our worship is ended and our service begins.